So the first thing that we did on the boat and in the first location, it was all of the water activities. So the snorkeling or scuba diving, I went scuba diving, and that was where the boat was anchored in the sand, but close enough to the reef that we could just go out and swim around in the reef and check it out. And let me tell you, it was absolutely amazing. So pretty much what they did is they gave us like a briefing beforehand of all of the like different skills and safety things we would need to know, and then once we got there, we got all suited up. Like they got us to wear a wetsuit to protect our skin, and we got like this waistband belt with weights on it to make us heavier in the water so that we wouldn't float to the surface. But on top of that, of course, they had the backpack with the scuba diving equipment, like the air tank and this buoyancy control device, I think that's what it's called, where like if you press the button, it can make the backpack float more or float less, that sort of thing. And so we got to the end of the boat ramp where pretty much you're sitting there with your legs dangling in the water. There's still like a few like, I wouldn't say waves, but it's a bit like the water's not rough, but if you're in there, you'd be moving around a little bit. At this stage I was pretty excited. And I had my scuba mask on and all, and had the flippers on, and it came to where I was descending, going down the ladder into the water, and they get you to do this thing called equalizing, where you pinch your nose and breathe out of your mouth. I mean, you blow bubbles. Wait, pinch your nose. Yeah, you pinch your nose and breathe out with your mouth open while you're breathing. And at this stage, I was like super terrified because the first breath that I took, it felt so weird. Like it didn't feel like I was breathing actual air. It felt like I wasn't breathing enough air, actually. And yeah, so as I went down the ladder, I was like, oh my God, am I gonna die? But we pushed through it. We got there in the end. I did go up the first time for like go back up to the surface because I was just a bit nervous, but the instructor Dom really calmed my nerves, and he was like, yeah, it's all good, we can just go back down. And so I did that, and once we got to the bottom, at this stage we were like, you know, still vertical. Then we linked arms and we like kind of went into swimming mode, if that makes sense. Like we went from vertical to horizontal, and we just left the boat and started swimming around. And let me tell you, like when you're underwater, everything is like slow-mo because, you know, the water and all that. And yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Like at that point, I kind of like breathing sort of just, I got used to the breathing, and I was just so amazed by all of the coral and all of the fish and the water, and the fact that I was breathing underwater. I could say it took my breath away. And yeah, I saw so many cool things. Like, so we went around like 10 meters deep, and like right underneath us was like the coral reef. And there were so many different types of corals, different shapes and sizes and colors. And like I got so close to it that if I could touch it, but like you don't want to do that. But I'm just saying, just so you can imagine it. And I saw so many different types of fish, like that you'd see like all of the little small fish, like schools of fish just swimming around, and they dart around because they're really fast, or like the slower moving fish but the really colorful ones, like yellow stripes, white, black dots, you know, different types of patterns and shapes. I even saw a parrotfish, which is my favorite fish because it's really colorful and pretty. I also saw a purple clam, which is not what I expected a clam to look like. It was very interesting. I saw Nemo in the anemone. I was absolutely speechless, literally speechless. Oh God, I have to stop making these jokes. Yeah, so like the view was just, not the view, but I mean, just the whole experience of scuba diving was just absolutely bonkers. Like this time I made sure to like look around me, be aware of my surroundings. I looked up, I could see people's legs as they were like scuba diving. I look down and I can see the reef. I look in front of me, left and right, and I just see like an expanse of blue water. I mean, of course it's blue, but it's just so majestic, like being in the water. It's so calm and mysterious in a way, and it's calming because all you can hear is the sound of yourself inhaling and exhaling, and everything is slowed down because you're in the water, and that gives you no choice but to just appreciate everything around you and focus on all of nature's amazing things, and appreciate the fact that you're actually in one of the wonders of the world. And that was definitely the experience for me. I saw a few new things this time, the most prominent one being 2 sharks. And I actually wasn't scared this time because we were told beforehand that if we do see a shark, they probably won't. I mean, if we do see a shark, they're not going to really pay attention to us. So yeah, being underwater was just so cool. Like, and it was like something that really surprised me about being underwater was you can see like a meter ahead of you, and that's because like I guess the water's just so, I mean, you can see the particles, like the particles of sand and sediment just floating. It's just suspended in the water and you're just swimming through it. Not to say the water's dirty, but I just found that really cool. And like, of course the water was like light blue, or so yeah. As we were swimming, the instructor, Dom, he kept checking my oxygen gauge to make sure that like everything was okay. And like, I think once we reached a certain time underwater, or like once the oxygen level went to a certain level, I'm pretty sure it was just that once we reached 20 minutes, because that was how long it was, we made our way back. And I actually have no idea how we got back, because like I did not have any sense of direction underwater, nor do I have any sense of direction on land, but I just found that impressive that we did make our way back, didn't get lost. So yeah, when we made it back, Dom, the instructor, pressed the button to make the backpack float, so like it filled the backpack with air, so it was easier to get up to the surface. And remember that this is like 10 meters down, so it didn't actually feel that deep, but when I got told that, I was like, whoa. And yeah, we went up the ladder, back onto the boat, and I was like, geez, that was absolutely amazing. I totally want to do that again. That's probably like, it's so up there in like the most amazing experiences I've done. Like it's up there with bungee jumping and soon to be skydiving. And once I got out of the water, I just had this most amazing feeling, just like, wow, I really did that. And it made me want to go back. And the whole time since then, I've just been thinking about going back to Cairns to the Great Barrier Reef to go scuba diving again. It was that good. I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to go to the Great Barrier Reef. It's like a once in a lifetime shot, especially since the health of the reef is deteriorating. We've got to do our part to conserve the health of the reef.